You think you're free? You choose your job, your partner, your morning coffee. But what if that freedom is just an echo? What if you can do what you want, but you cannot choose what it is you want in the first place? This is not just a thought experiment. It's the haunting philosophy of Arthur Schopenhauer. It might change the way you see everything. In a world obsessed with freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of choice, freedom to be whoever you want. What if the very engine driving your decisions was never truly yours? Schopenhauer's famous quote whispers through the modern world like a ghost. A man can do what he wants, but not want what he wants. It's unsettling, it's radical, yet it might be true. Because behind every choice you make, there's a deeper force. One you did not invent, and one you cannot fully see. Born in 1788, Arthur Schopenhauer walked through the Enlightenment like a shadow. Where others saw progress, he saw illusion. Where others saw reason, he saw the will. A blind, pulsing drive at the core of everything alive. He grew up in wealth, traveled through Europe, read deeply. But nothing impressed him more than one terrifying realization. We are not the masters of our own minds. For Schopenhauer, freedom was not about action. It was about origin. You might act freely. Yes, you might walk through door A instead of door B. But why did you want door A? What made that desire feel stronger, more urgent? Was it your upbringing, your genetic wiring, some long-forgotten memory you don't even recall? To Schopenhauer, our choices are expressions of our character. But our character is not something we chose. The will precedes us. It existed before we were aware. And it moves us, like the wind moves leaves. And this will, this primal, unconscious force, is not rational. It doesn't think. It doesn't explain. It just wants. The body aches, the heart yearns, the mind follows. Long before Schopenhauer, another thinker stood on the streets of Athens, asking dangerous questions. Socrates believed the soul could be guided by reason, that if we truly knew the good, we would do the good. That knowledge was not just power, it was freedom. But even Socrates noticed something strange. People often act against what they know is right. Why? If reason is so powerful, why does it so often lose to impulse? This was a puzzle he could not solve. Schopenhauer, centuries later, gave it a name. The will does not obey reason. The will uses reason. Your logic is not steering the ship. It's just explaining after the fact why the ship turned. Fast forward to the 20th century, neuroscientists begin to study the brain with precision. And what do they find? In test after test, action potentials fire in the brain before a person reports making a conscious decision. You decide after the brain has already begun to act. The implication? Conscious choice is not the origin of action. It's the narrator, not the author. We think we're writing the script, but perhaps we're reading lines from a play already in motion. Schopenhauer was deeply influenced by Eastern thought, especially Buddhism. He saw in it a mirror of his own vision. Life is suffering, driven by desire, and the only escape, the stilling of the will. In Buddhist teaching, the source of suffering is tanha, craving, wanting what we don't have, fearing what we might lose. Freedom is not indulging the will. Freedom is stepping outside of it. And the Stoics, too, had something to say. While Schopenhauer saw us as puppets of the will, Stoics offered a different kind of freedom. Not freedom from desire, but freedom within it. Epictetus wrote, "You may not control events, but you can control your attitude toward them." This isn't the freedom to want whatever you please. It's the discipline to respond with wisdom, even when your inner world is on fire, where Schopenhauer reveals the trap. The Stoics light a candle inside it. So where does that leave us? We're moved by forces we do not control, your memories we don't recall, biology we didn't choose, your desires that rise like waves and crash before we can name them, and yet we feel responsible. We live as if we are free. We must choose, even if we don't know why. So, what does freedom mean in a world like this? Is it an illusion, or is it something else entirely? Let's return to the haunting words. A man can do what he wants, but not want what he wants. What if this wasn't a prison sentence, but a turning point? If you can't choose your desires, then real freedom begins with how you meet them. It's not whether you want. It's whether you identify with every want that arises. Freedom is not the power to reshape your will at whim. It's the clarity to witness the will without being devoured by it. to see your impulse, your craving, your fear, and ask, is this truly mine? This is where philosophers, mystics, and scientists begin to meet. You are not your first thought. You are not your last emotion. You are the awareness between them. Schopenhauer left behind no political movement, no revolution in the streets, no golden promise of utopia. But what he offered was honesty, a mirror held to the soul at its rawest. He taught us that desire is not innocent, that wanting is not always a choice, that freedom is not the same as power, and that true peace may lie not in controlling the will, but in letting go of the illusion that we do. His ideas echoed into the minds of Nietzsche, Freud, even Einstein. Each saw in their own way that what moves us is deeper than logic, it's older than language, and sometimes darker than we want to admit. So, can a man do what he wants? Yes, but can he want what he wants? Maybe not. And that changes everything. Because it means that when you feel torn, when you act against your better judgment, you fall into the same patterns again and again. It isn't always weakness, it's being human. But here's the quiet truth. Schopenhauer never said outright, if you cannot choose your first desire, you can choose what you do with it. You can choose to pause, to reflect, to rise above impulse. That moment, that pause, is the first breath of freedom. And maybe that's what makes it real. If this stirred something in you, keep searching. Watch our next video. Or better yet, sit with this one again. Not to escape your will, but to understand it. Because the journey to freedom often begins with a whisper.